I just love the story of Joseph, and the story of Joseph is really powerful because it lasts for so many chapters in the Bible. It has such a significant role. As I was thinking about this, there's two things that really came to my mind, and I've been pushed with it and pressed with it. And the first one is that Dreamcrushers can be people who hate us, but they also can be people who love us. And I say that because Joseph explains his dream to his brothers, and he tells them about the dream. His brother's response is, "Do you intend to reign over us? Do you actually plan to rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream. So his brothers did not like him in the first place. He already didn't have, Dad wasn't helping much. Let me just put it that way. Dad wasn't helping, and here Joseph is. Now they hated him all the more because of his dream. And so you're going to have people, and I'm going to have people in my life who do not support the dream that God has given you. And they are going to hate on that dream. And if they don't support you in everyday life and they're not already saying hello to you, just figure once that God-given dream is put in your life and it starts to come to fruition, that they're going to hate you all the more. So it's just a friendly reminder to us as leaders and us as pastors that when you dream, don't be discouraged by your haters. I love my husband. He's hilarious because he says, haters are my motivators every time you say something mean to him. And so to him, it's like you're motivating me to accomplish the dream that God's given to me. So when I think about Joseph's brothers and their intentions behind it, their response to his dream was not positive. And then we see Joseph tells a dream to his father. His father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and your brothers actually come and bow down before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, and his father kept the matter in mind. His father loved him. Did I not just read that he was the favorite? His father loved him, and yet this dream crusher now becomes someone who loves him. You and I both have people in our life, especially for me right now. There's a person in my life who loves me. I know she loves me because she's blood. We were raised in the same house. We've been through a lot together. But the day that I said I'm moving to California was the day a bind was put between us. And I do believe that she loves me, but she has become kind of a dream crusher for this dream that God's placed in my heart and my life. And so understand the people who love you may not be able to see the God-given dream that you have been given. Does that make it bad? No, it doesn't make it bad. You and I just have to understand that dream was God-given. It's not your personal endeavors. You're not doing this for your own sake. God gave that to you. And God's calling you to bring that to pass. So dream crushers can be people who love us. As hard as that may sound, we have to pray that God would show them the dream. That God would give them a glimpse of that dream for your life. And they could learn to support that. And that could grow within them as well. And I firmly believe as pastors, if we will allow the people who don't like our dreams, who hate on our dreams, or maybe it's department heads who shut your dream down, if we could just pray that they would understand that this is the leadership role that God's given you. And that freedom would come through in that. And the people who love us, who don't see the vision, who don't have the plan, that God would start to give them a glimpse of it so that we find that freedom that we need to accomplish the dream that God's given to us as leaders. And the second thing that I'm really motivated by and stuck on right now is the reaction of the brothers. He said, "Let's kill him and we'll see what comes of his dreams." And the brothers think, oh, if I do this, I'm stopping it. It's done. It's no longer going to happen. But they couldn't see that God was going to use them to be a part of the plan. So your haters may become a part of the plan of where you're going to be and what you're going to do. There may be seasons in your ministry, seasons in your life where you don't understand why you're in this season, and everyone around you is trying to snuff things out, and God's saying, I'm moving you to where the plan and the dream can be fulfilled. And don't let the haters crush that part of it. Let them become a part of the story. And so they think they're going to stop the plan, and God's saying, no, I'm going to use that through that season. But with that comes this idea from brothers, or in his case, or from people that we serve, or people in our family, whatever the case is, that they always say, well, your life's so much easier. Oh, you've never been through anything tough. You don't understand my life. And the truth is, I've come to realize this. No, you're right, I don't. You're right, I don't understand. Because I'm walking in obedience to God, and like Joseph, when walking in obedience to God, you receive God's favor. Even if it's not where you want to be, you still receive the favor of God by walking in obedience to Him. And the brothers were walking in disobedience. They're not going to receive the favor, and they're not going to receive the blessings. So your life may be easier, but they could have that same thing as well. So as I look at this, and I'm watching Joseph's life, and as I follow along, here he is. He goes to get sold by his brothers, and it said, the master saw that Joseph had favor, and the Lord gave him success in everything that he did. So here he is, and not in a good place. He's a slave, and yet he gets the favor that he needs, and God uses that. He gets falsely accused, as we know, imprisoned. And then we see this place where he's put into prison, and it said, but while Joseph was in prison, the Lord was with him and showed him kindness and granted favor in the eyes of the prison warden. None of the season that he's in is something that everybody's like, oh, this is going to complete my dream. I'm sure Joseph at no point was like, prison has a huge role in this. Everybody's going to want to hear these stories. Or maybe I shouldn't even tell anyone about that season in my ministry or in my life, because that was not a good place. And yet here God is saying, but you're going to have favor the whole time. You're walking with me. That's okay. It's tough, but you're walking with me. And so by continuing to walk with God, he just kept getting the favor of God, and that moved him toward the dream. And I love the cupbearer totally forgot about him. 2 years. As in ministry, you can feel like you've been completely forgotten about sometimes as a pastor. You can feel like the network doesn't notice you. People in your congregation don't see the things that you do. And so it's hard, but yet knowing that dream that God placed in your heart, it will come to pass. You're not forgotten about by God. And that's the person that matters the most. Not the person who can put your name before anyone else. It's the Lord, because he makes the way. And so with Joseph's life, as he's walking in obedience, he gets all of the things that God promised to him. I'm wrestling through this myself because of my family member and because of the struggle for 6 years. But God gave me a dream when I was 16 years old to move to Southern California. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here because I don't want to be with my family. I'm not here for selfish ambition or gain. I'm here because this is where God wanted me to be. Has it been tough? Yes, but I've walked through it with God. And I do believe as ministers, when we don't get our eyes focused on other dreamers, that God will bless our dream. It's okay for that pastor to be doing the ministry that he's doing. It's okay for that leader to do certain things, because that's the God-given dream for them. But what is the God-given dream for you? And don't be jealous when their dream is successful. God will make your dream successful if you're focused on the dream that God's given to you. He will bring those things to pass. In all of Joseph's story, he reflects God's character so well that in the end, he doesn't retaliate against his brothers. He totally has the right to, but he doesn't, because he sees that God had that plan all along. And in our ministries and our lives, don't let the Dreamcrushers stop you. Even if it's people who don't like you, don't let their words stop what God is doing. Even if it's people who love you, who have good intentions for you, stop the dream that God's placed in your life. God has called you specifically to a certain dream. And I also believe that if a pastor can have a dream and get excited, the congregation feels that. The congregation knows, man, they got my back. I believe a lot of people in our lives aren't happy because they've never completed the dream that God gave them. They never became who God wanted them to be. And if we'll encourage them to do that, man, our congregations will change. They'll be apt to go out and to share God's word and to be the example. Ask God for a dream if you don't have one right now. And when it starts to come to pass, don't worry about the brothers. Just ignore them and focus on God and walk in his favor.